And welcome to Downtime Distractions. You're joining Mung Beans for another first look review. With this video, we are looking at a title called HeroLike. Now, before we look into today's game, I want to say that our first look reviews are not full reviews, but follow our three caveats. The first being that gameplay time is under 8 hours. Second thing is that we have not completed the game. And lastly, there is more room to gain knowledge and skills from single or multiple aspects of the game. With those things in mind, we still feel we have played the game long enough to give you an idea of the game. Now that our formalities are done, let's dive in. HeroLike is a fantasy action RPG roguelike city management, and thrown in there is also a pick a path type of game. It is developed by a group called Games Hut. The game is currently in early access, so elements of the game are not all there. However, that being said, you do get a good idea of the game's direction and what the developers are wanting to achieve. The story is nothing new. Basically, evil is trying to corrupt a magical artifact that will destroy the world, and you are there to disrupt their plans and ruin the day. The game starts off with the character class selection. Very much like Diablo, the character you choose represents the class you will be playing. At this moment, you can only choose two characters. The Guardian, a more close combat melee class, and the Shaman, a magic-wielding range class. According to Games Hut's Steam description, they are planning to add more classes as they progress. I'm gonna make a new Guardian character and just call him Monk, because I tend to like close combat a lot more. And with that ado, we are ready to venture forth into the unknown and stop this ultimate evil. We start each game by first picking an encounter. Now these encounters include a hostile, defense, gamble, and lastly, my personal favorite, the friendly encounter. Let's have a look at the hostile encounter. Hostile encounters is probably the core of the game. These encounters are your hack and slash playthrough. It will randomly vary between fighting waves of enemies, collecting power nodes while killing mobs, or a boss fight. There isn't really anything special about this encounter, only that it is a means to gain more gold and building materials for your town. Because of the random nature behind the varied hostile game type, it is a little tricky to prepare for them, especially when all of a sudden you encounter a boss and realize you forgot to buy extra health potion. This can be fatal, as the game is a roguelike game where death means you will start all over. Defense encounters is actually not much different to hostile ones. You are still battling waves of monsters, but this time you're defending a power core. I don't think they have quite completed this encounter, because the mobs don't make any attempt to try and attack the power core. You can stand right next to the power core and they come straight to you. Again, I think they just haven't finished this encounter yet, and probably need to flesh things out a bit. It'd be a bit more interesting if the mobs actually tries to avoid attacking you and concentrate more on trying to destroy the power core. Gamble is yet again no different to the hostile encounters at this stage. I think that the idea behind it was that the mobs and the rewards would be random, but from what I have been playing, I haven't seen anything random about it. There is many things they could easily do though, like have the boss appear randomly among the monsters, or sometimes only gold spawn. Once again, I think the current version of the game I'm playing just doesn't have enough assets ready to make this particular encounter a gamble. and I think it's just a matter of time for them to complete it, and hopefully it'll be something a little bit more interesting. And lastly, the friendly encounter. Now, this is a really cool feature. I truly enjoyed these friendly encounters, more than the combat ones, surprisingly. I absolutely hope they develop these encounters into a more complex and integrated system. It was just a lot of fun reading the little stories of each encounter and making a decision for each situation. The only dispute I have with these encounters is that the choices you make have no substantial consequence. From what I have played, it feels that the right choice is the one that always gives you favorable result. And choosing the more deceiving choices didn't benefit you with anything except decreasing your renown. If they could make the choices affect the future encounters, then they got something memorable here. For example, they could make it so that when you make a choice to help a merchant, you get discounts at town and more gold appear in hostile encounters. Or if you choose to help a more evil aligned character, you might get less waves of mobs in the hostile encounters, but merchants will double their prices. These are just some things to consider, and I think if they really push this feature more, they've got something really special. After completing numbers of these encounters, you're probably wondering, what do I do with all this golden material I have amassed? Well, that is what the town is for. In town, you will use materials to build and upgrade shops. Once you have shops, you can buy and sell items. Fortunately, your death doesn't alter the town. The shops all stay built and upgraded and stay the way they are. So I'm just going to show you around town. So basically, it's got the basic things. You can go to the swordsmith and weapons shop and buy axes and swords, and every time you upgrade a particular shop, you get more higher level items to buy. Um, the one building that you always want to build is this one here called the Guardian Altar. Now, what that does is that when you die, you aren't going to lose your character straight away. You still have one more chance to replay that same stage or come back into the town and rebuild this altar so your character doesn't ever die. It doesn't cost much material, so it's definitely worth having it built all the time. There are some other more interesting shops you can build and upgrade as well. There is this, I think they call it like a progress vault shop, where basically, if you do accidentally die and you restart, your character isn't going to start from level 0. You get 2 extra levels and some extra gold when you start. The other one is the Scavenger Guild, which will make it all the way up here. And this is just basically it's basically using up your renown to get more gold. Um, it's that's what it is. They kind of make it sound as if like the scavengers go out and get gold on a daily, sort of like hourly or minutely basis, and you come back to a pile of loot, but it's really just replacing your renown for some gold. So that's basically what you do in town, and you do want to stock up on potions as much as you can. Items and things as well is always fun to play with, but that's basically it. By now you will also notice that the character gains experience to level, like most RPG games. Nothing special in this department, I'm afraid. It is your typical stat increase and add a point to your skill kind of leveling system. It would have been neat to see something different or more skill usage leveling system, kind of like Skyrim or the Elder Scrolls sort of games. But if the existing cog turns, I guess there's no point replacing it. You know, if the old system works and there's a standard for it, I guess it's okay. So as you can see, when you level, you kind of get 2 windows popping up. One is the status window where you basically add all your attribute points. So obviously strength is more catered to this guy. Each level you get 3 attributes points to spend, and you get 1 skill point to spend. In the skill window here, you get 4 skills and abilities to use. I have a funny feeling that there's probably going to be more abilities when Game Hut progresses more on this game. So each point you spend on the skill basically makes it more stronger, enchantments last longer, and you will probably end up using more mana. So there isn't anything really special here. It's just, probably the most typical sort of leveling system out there in the gaming industry. To finish off this video, here are a few things I would like to conclude with. Graphics wise, the game looks really nice. The texturing is done well and the character models are good. However, I feel the animation probably needs a little bit of work, but all in all, it's not too bad. Controls probably not the strongest element of the game. I really wish they made it so that the hit direction is based on the position of your mouse and not in the direction of the character. There were too many times where I would misuse an ability all because my character was facing the wrong way. This made the game very frustrating, and even more so when you have progressed further in the game, where precision is needed for larger and more resilient mobs. Music is okay. It doesn't really add much to the game, only as a nice ambience playing in the background, and you won't really notice it, but it is still a nice cherry on top. Gameplay wise, the encounters is an interesting way of staging the game into intervals. The hostile encounters are at best mediocre. Without a random loot drop system, there is no real reward or enticement to play through them. They felt more like a grind to get to the more interesting, friendly encounters, which to me personally is the highlight of the game. And also makes you think, is there a design flaw here? If the secondary feature of a game outweighs the core feature of a game, maybe, we need to go back to the drawing board and have a look at the, essence of our core feature. With those things in mind, my personal take is to sit this one out for now, until Games Hut work on it a little bit more. There is a good 5 hours of content to go through in its current version, but the content lacks features that will motivate you to continue playing the game for more than 5 hours. So let this one bake in the oven for a little longer, as the center is still a little raw. Of course, don't let me stop you from going out and trying out this game, because it is in a state where the game is worth trying and having a look. When compared to other more sort of early access game where there isn't much to do, this game does provide a few things for you to do if you do choose to buy it. And that concludes another episode of First Play Reviews. If you enjoyed or found the video informative, please like and subscribe. Or if you want to watch more videos, please visit our Facebook or YouTube page noted in the descriptions. We also welcome any type of feedback, as it will help us make these videos better for you. Thank you again for watching, and remember, there is no distractions like Downtime Distractions.